Alright, what's good y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So, like I always say, you've seen the title and you've seen the thumbnail. Today we're going to talk about something that we have yet to really go more in depth on this channel, and that's the fact that we're getting a new Nintendo console very soon. A couple of weeks ago, Nintendo's president himself, Furukawa, tweeted from the official Nintendo page that we're going to get an announcement for the Nintendo Switch successor within this fiscal year. While we are getting a Nintendo Direct within the next month, we're not going to get any information on the successor within that presentation. This next upcoming presentation is probably going to be one of our last couple for the Nintendo Switch, meaning that it's probably just going to be one of the few to finish off a lot of the major titles that are coming out on Nintendo Switch. And by one of the final, I mean like Nintendo Switch centric. They're probably going to try to keep it alive for another couple of years, but their primary focus is going to be on the successor for a little while. With Pokemon Legends ZA as living proof, we're probably going to be getting simultaneous releases of major games on both platforms for a little while. This is something that's been pretty standard for pretty much every major console release ever. Look at every major company that's done this. I don't know if y'all remember, but Breath of the Wild also did release on the Wii U. Nobody got it, but it was on there as well. Now, you guys know me good and well by now. I've never been really one to delve too hard into leaks and rumors and things like that. I'm a believe it when I see it kind of person. However, it's been such a long time now since the Switch came out that it's kind of hard not to look into these kind of things. And it's so fun to see all of the potential that could be coming to this new Nintendo console. Like I've always said, I do love the Nintendo Switch. As a concept, as a console, it truly is great, and I love it for what it is. However, it's been long enough to the point where I have been wishing for something a little bit better, especially in the power department. By design, the Switch has a very heavy focus on the aspect that it's a handheld as well, which is great. I love that. Whenever I occasionally do use the handheld feature, it is a good time. However, as somebody that does content creation and as somebody that plays most of his games at home, I don't really have that much of a use for the feature in of itself. 9 times out of 10, I'm playing my games on the Switch docked, meaning I'm trying to get the most power out of that console as I possibly can. However, the Switch, more than a lot of other consoles, has had a lot of dips and spikes in its consistency when it comes to quality. As somebody that is simply a player and not a developer, I can't really pin the blame on one party or the other when it comes to the quality of video games. However, I think it is, for the most part, pretty damn safe to say that if you have a stronger console to develop on, there's a good chance that you have a lot more power to play with and a lot more power to utilize when developing your own title. And for Nintendo, who has always been a step behind, a new console this time around is nothing short of a good thing. I mean, come on, let's be real here. The Nintendo Switch, while I do love it, is 2 generations behind in terms of power. It's time we get an evolution. See what I did there? You can laugh. It's funny. And so that brings us to today. We are finally getting a new console within the next year. And you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but to our knowledge, I believe that Pokemon Legends ZA is the first and only game announced to be in development for the Nintendo Switch successor. And maybe this is me being a little overzealous again, like I was in my previous video, but I really do feel a little optimistic for this. If there has always been a series that feels like it's always been a step behind, it is for sure Pokemon. We have been with this series for freaking ages now, and it's no mystery that it has always been on some of the weakest hardware possible. The only time that Pokemon ever really truly felt caught up was when we were getting spin-offs on modern consoles instead of mainline games. I mean, until we got the Switch anyway, but even then, come on, we were waiting a long time for a Pokemon game, a mainline Pokemon game, to be on a modern console. Why did that take so long? I remember picking up Pokemon Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness and thinking, why did they never take the opportunity to put a mainline game on the GameCube? If there was any reason to have a handheld back in the day, it was for Pokemon. So I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that if a mainline generational game came out on the GameCube, we would be looking at a very different timeline right now. But instead, they continued that weird trend all the way up until 2017. We got good looking games like Pokemon Battle Revolution and the Pokepark series on the Wii, and then we got games like Pokken Tournament on the Wii U, which in my personal opinion is some of the best Pokemon has ever looked in its entire lifetime. The Wii U was another insane situation in which I continue to think to myself, why? Why do we not have a mainline generational game on the Wii U, which was debatably one of Nintendo's strongest consoles ever? In specs, not in sales. Sales is its weakest by far. They've had excuses time and time again for why the potential of these games could never truly be fully realized. We blame Pokemon Company for a lot of problems with this series. However, when it comes to Game Freak, I always say they're very talented, but even that talent can only do so much with the hardware that they have to work with. A part of the reason that I felt like it took so long for games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to actually release was because they had to take so much extra time and precaution to make sure that those games actually worked on the Switch. I also can't help but believe that a lot of the other aspects of these games that came out on Switch for Pokemon did fail in a couple of aspects because they had to take so much time to focus on getting the games to even function before focusing on a lot of other things. Again, Pokemon Company is for sure to blame for rushing the hell out of them, but regardless, again, they can only do so much with the time and power allotted. But now, I can't help but believe that we might actually be playing with a little bit of power this time around. Like I always say to you and myself, take every leak and rumor that you hear with a grain of salt, because you never know what we're actually going to get until we get it. Nintendo has always been cautious like that. However, we have heard a lot of talks here and there about this new console being a lot stronger than the base Nintendo Switch. And I can't help but admit that that makes me just a tidbit excited for the future of Pokemon titles. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Better specs means more power to play with, and more power to play with means a better looking and feeling Pokemon game. I've emphasized time and time again that Game Freak is a very talented set of teams, and if given the right tools and time, they could do literally whatever they want. In this case, I'm just really hoping that they got their hands on the dev kit early enough to really understand the power that they actually have in their hands. Because if so, we could be looking at a truly stellar looking and feeling Pokemon game in Legends EA and potential future titles. It's very true that the first half of things has to come from Game Freak's end when it comes to optimization. That's very important. However, with the potential of the Switch 2, it's very easy for me to imagine a world where pop-in isn't so blatant, where textures don't look mixed and matched and really awkward in way too many situations, where they could get really fun and expressive with character models and animations. I can't help but imagine the very real possibility that we might have a fully built, fully explorable city with openable doors in every direction. And maybe, just maybe, if taken care of properly, with little to no load times. Oh my goodness, what an exciting prospect. I'm such a nerd, bro, I swear to God. But yes, this is something that I think about way too often because for far too long have all of these towns and cities in some of these Pokemon games been completely underutilized. Also, and correct me if I'm using the incorrect term here, I can't help but imagine that they're probably going to be doing a lot of updates when it comes to online UI, which means that it's very possible that it could be a lot easier and a lot more fun to invite friends to play games with us. And if they're smart, I could really see Game Freak taking advantage of something like that. In Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, we saw a lot of potential of what online could potentially look like in a big old like MMO type situation with an official Pokemon game. So imagine a game running on a console that could actually comfortably run with multiple people on the screen. I remember at the beginning of the Switch's life cycle, they were advertising up to 8 people playing things together. Now, that might be comfortably realized with 60 frames per second with little to no issues. My goodness, isn't it so nice to dream about something like this? I can't wrap my head around all of these possibilities. Now, there is one thing that I heavily considered that could also work against Pokemon in a couple of aspects. Working with new hardware usually does mean longer development times, and in Pokemon's case, that's something that we've wanted for a long time because we want them to take their time with these games. However, 4 to 5 years could be pretty damn crazy, you know what I mean? Now, of course, this isn't me complaining about the possibility of them actually taking their time. I really hope that they do. I hope that's the case for every game that's developed, ever, actually, because I want to play a game that it feels like they cared about actually developing. And of course, I don't need Pokemon games to be annual. This is very much proven by the fact that I'm excited that we're not getting anything this year. I'm just saying that the stronger the hardware, the more there is to take into account when developing a game. And if that's the case, that's probably gonna add a little bit more to the time. But, you know, whatever. I'm a very patient person and I'm into a lot of other things outside of Pokemon, so I'll be fine. I'm just saying. Now, it's funny what I'm about to say, considering the last video that I posted was kind of about escaping the potential dark ages of Pokemon. However, I feel like we could be looking at a soft launch for a new era of Pokemon with this new Nintendo console. I noticed that this is probably gonna be like the first time that a mainline Pokemon game is going to launch with the new Nintendo console. Usually they take at least a year or two before they've fully developed a new Pokemon game, but this time, it's most likely going to be a launch title with Pokemon Legends ZA. You gotta remember, with Nintendo, who is very much a lot about quality, that's a big deal. I know that Pokemon is generally a console seller, but for that to be the first game to launch with the new console, take it with a grain of salt by the way, I don't know if that's true, but to be a launch title, you gotta be some kind of confident that that game is going to be the thing that's gonna make people be like, yes, this is what the new Nintendo Switch is all about, that's why I'm picking it up. Let's get to it. Because I'm telling you right now, if Pokemon Legends ZA looks any kind of booty, and it's the primary console seller that they've got going for the Switch too, it's not gonna be looking good. It might be kind of a problem down the line with sales for that console. They gotta be kinda confident. I mean, granted, of course, it is also very possible that they have, you know, other console sellers ready to go, like a new Mario game, or Metroid Prime 4, or another Metroid game, or Donkey Kong, or any of their other important IPs. But Pokemon is up there, even higher than some of their other beasts. In of itself, it is a monster seller. So they gotta be pretty damn confident. And I'ma just leave it at that. So that just about wraps it up for this one. This one was for sure the yap session of yap sessions of all time, for sure. But I was really thinking about that a lot because we are getting closer and closer every day to the reveal of this new Nintendo Switch. And I can't help but be really excited for what the future could bring for Nintendo, for Pokemon, for all that good stuff. Because we've been waiting a long time for a little more power. You know what I'm saying? And I love the Nintendo Switch, but as somebody that never plays it handheld and has seen it struggle time and time again to run games that could run perfectly fine on other consoles, it was about time to move on to bigger and better, you know? And I'm always gonna love the Nintendo Switch. I'm always gonna have it with me from now to the end of time, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited for the new console. So let's just hope that I can be excited for Pokemon as well, and it really brings something fresh and new and good to the table. My fingers are crossed for y'all right now, man. Please do this one good. Please, Legends, save us. That's me being dramatic. It probably won't, but we'll have to see what happens. But that's enough out of me. I'm turning my brand new shiny mic over to you guys. I'm so dramatic. I'm turning it over to you guys, and I want you guys to tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below about the new Nintendo Switch and the future of Pokemon. Do you think that this new Nintendo console is a good thing for Pokemon? Do you think that they're really going to show out with Pokemon Legends EA and it's going to show off all the brand new cool features and tidbits and stuff like that with the new console? Or do you think that they are just being cocky once again because it's Pokemon and it's just going to be another bummy, crummy game from Game Freak, and that's not going to be the Switch 2's primary sellout? Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.